Hey guys, I'm Dan Henry and I'm a Customer Success Technical Architect here at MuleSoft. In this Friends of Mac video series, I'm going to be talking to you about Anypoint API Community Manager, which provides a next-gen developer experience to help you build and grow API ecosystems. In this three-part demonstration, I'll be guiding you through how to customize your community. Today, in part 1, I'm going to provide a demonstration on how to create a community and build an impactful landing page. So what concepts will we learn in this three-part demonstration? Well, I'll guide you through how to get set up with a quick start site structure. We'll look at how we use Lightning components to build our pages. We'll look at how to configure those Lightning components. We'll also look at how custom CSS can be used to tweak the styling of your site. And finally, we'll cover how audiences can be used to create personalized experiences for different community visitors. Concept 4 will only be covered in parts 1 and 2, and Concept 5 will be covered in part 3 of the demonstration. Before we get into the demonstration, I want to highlight 2 key resources which I'd recommend to anyone embarking on an API portal initiative. The first one is MuleSoft's white paper on how to develop a winning API product strategy. This is a comprehensive guide to establishing the right mindset, approach, and techniques for winning with APIs in a digital economy. The second is our meetup presentation on building API communities for developers. In this session, I go through lessons learned from working with customers, as well as a proven methodology for designing your community using a user-centered approach. Now let's get into the demonstration. So before we start, we're going to talk about some prerequisites and assumptions. So for this demonstration, we're going to assume that you've gone through the install process, but we will take a quick detour to create a community, just so you're using the same template that we're going to use in this demonstration. In terms of the site structure, we're going to follow the typical site structure which can be found on the MuleSoft documentation. Let's look at the API community we're going to be recreating today. So first I'll log in. Now this is the API community for Out-of-the-Box Outfitters, an online retail store. And you can see here I've created some branding and styling to align to Out-of-the-Box Outfitters. And if I scroll down, you can also see that I've added some APIs, some API groups. I've got some detail explaining what this API portal is about and why it's useful. You can see I've got some community discussions and some other news articles and case studies. We can head over to news, for example, and see some of those news articles as well here. But I'm maintaining that branding across the community. I can head to forums, for example, and we can see some of the forum discussions as well. So as I mentioned before, we're going to take a quick detour to explain how to create the community using the standard template. At this point, I've created the data bridge between API Community Manager and my Anypoint organization. So next I can head over to Setup. In Setup, I'll search Digital Experiences and then click on All Sites. My Salesforce org has some existing communities. You won't see these if you've got a brand new installation. And I have a few different templates that I can use here. And they've all got different images and examples. You could do Build Your API Community, or you can choose this one, which is a Northern Trail Outfitters API Community, which comes with some standard branding and layouts and example site structure. So I click Get Started, and I give my community a name. So at this point, you'd carried on your installation, and then we can move into customizing your community. So the installation is complete, so let's now customize our community. You can see here that I've added some APIs to this community, and you can see that I've added some descriptions, and I've added some icons as well that are in line with the Out-of-the-Box Outfitters branding. So now we can head over to Community Builder, where we will customize our site. So you can see, because we used the Northern Trail Outfitters template, it came with some of this predefined images and logos and layout, but we can of course change this. You can see there's some of the Lightning components here that we can then modify to bring in the right information or to add our own information as well. And the API carousel, for example. But first we're going to head over to theme. Now in theme we can click change theme. And what this allows us to do is use different themes that are with the Salesforce organization. So you can see some have a different type of header or a different page structure as well. But we're going to keep the API community theme. So you can choose colors that will align to your corporate branding. And we want to make sure that actually the colors align to this orange color here that we're using for out-of-the-box Outfitters. So first of all, I'm going to change the action color. So I'll copy and paste this RGB number. And I'm going to use the same color for the link color as well. You could also use generate palette from image if you had a company logo or a company page that you wanted to try using. Next, we're going to go to images. And here we can choose our company logo and the login page background image. So let's click on the company logo. And I'm just going to upload the company logo for out-of-the-box Outfitters. So you want to make sure the dimensions are no more than 250. So there we go. And then we'll choose the background image as well. This background image is for the login page. So we won't see a change in that hero image for now. So we're going to use this one to align to the hero image when we do change that. And that's updated. If we go back, we can also customize the fonts. Now you can use the fonts that are available as part of the Salesforce platform. So we can go through here and select one of those, or we can use a custom font. So you could use your company font using the CSS editor, which we'll look at in a short moment. I'm just going to change the header font to Roboto Condensed. You could also change the text case if you wanted, capitalize each letter at the beginning of the word, uppercase, lowercase, but I'm going to keep it unformatted. And finally, we can go to theme settings, and in here we could, for example, turn off the header. We could show the hero, and we can change the max page width as well. So now I want to change the weight of this font here, and also the headline font as well. I think it could be a bit thinner. So I can go to theme, click the downward arrow, and click edit CSS. And this is how we can actually do CSS overrides to customize and tweak the styling. So click use overrides. Now how am I going to get the right heading? Well, if I head to Lightning Experience and I open the community, if you're using Google Chrome, you can right click on the font and click inspect, or any other part of the page for that matter. So we can see here, this one is H2, and that's what we need to adjust. So we go to the Experience Builder, and we type in H2, curly brackets, and then font -weight, colon, the amount, followed by exclamation mark important. Oh, let me adjust that. Click Save. And you can see now it's actually thinned the font a bit. We'll have a look at Discover Our APIs. Click Inspect. This one's a bit more complicated. It's not straight out this one, but if we trace back up, we can see headline title text, or even headline title. So we use period, headline, title, and again curly brackets with the font weight. And this is now thinner. For each of the ACM components, you can actually go to the MuleSoft docs and look at advanced styling of CSS. And here we have each of the different CSS classes showing you how they can be adjusted. So now let's customize the home screen to look like the one that we saw in the demonstration. So first of all, I'm going to head over to the hero and I'm going to adjust this setup. I'm going to go to background and change the image to the same hero image we used for the login page. So we'll add that. And then we have some options where you can keep scale to fill. We could choose fit, for example, but I'm going to keep scale to fill. Keep the image position as central. And you can have an image overlay color, but I'm going to change that to transparent. Now I've noticed that the logo is actually probably not in line with what we want. We want to have the white background for that logo. So let's change that. So that's the logo I want. So there we go. More in line with what we would want. So now I can go to layout, for example. I can change the max hero width, or I can change the hero height. So I'm going to do that. And you can change the content width as well. For the type, we can actually change this to a call to action as well, if you would prefer to have people perhaps go straight to sign up. Let's keep that search for now. For content, I'm going to change the caption text and the title text. So I'm also going to change the caption text shadow as well. So it's going to be that orangey color that we had throughout. But it is a bit more of a transparent one. I could also change the search component if I wanted to. But we'll keep it as the ACM search box. So that looks good. Let's have a look at the theme navigation menu. You do have the option to edit the default navigation, perhaps if you wanted to add other pages or more information or remove stuff. And you can even personalize it depending on different types of audiences. We're now going to look at the structure of this section and we want to align it with the example that I showed you. So if I head to the page properties, I can actually go to the layout and I can change the content layout. So I'm going to change this to a 2 columns 2:1 ratio split. So I click change. So you can see how I've got this new sidebar. I'm going to move the headline here for the APIs and the API carousel here as well. I'm then going to duplicate this and drag this underneath and call this API groups. And I'm going to duplicate this API carousel as well. Now these two API carousels are showing the same APIs and API groups. So I'm going to click on the first one and change that to just APIs. The second one's going to have just API groups. I could add some filter or categories conditions as well. Let's move down to the news sections. So I'm going to keep this headline. We'll call it the out of the box API portal. I'm going to edit this rich content editor. I'm going to add an image. Great stuff. Now underneath, I'm going to add another rich content editor. So let's explain this section. What we have here is all of the Lightning components that we can use to create and customize our community. So you see here we have some of the standard Salesforce Lightning components. And if I scroll down, you can see the ACM components as well. And that's where we get the API carousel from, for example. So we'll drag this rich content editor in, and I'll copy and paste this text. Next, I'm going to adjust this CMS collection. But first, I'll add the headline. I'm going to put latest news and events. And then I add a collection. Now I've already added some different collections. check out the MuleSoft documentation on how to publish content using CMS. So I'm going to choose the news collection for this CMS Lightning component. And now I can start customizing this. At first, it's not going to show any images. We need to do some field mapping. In collection layout, I can choose some of these carousel, or I could choose strip, for example. But I'm going to keep grid. I'll keep the max columns and the rows the same, and the item spacing, and also the collection title, and the view more items button. You'll notice the colors are pulled through from the theme colors, so I can leave that. If I go to content layout, I can choose some of these bits as well. And then we get to field mappings, and so I'll select the title for the headline, but it looks a bit big. Let's put the banner image in anyway. So maybe we try the eyebrow for the title. So it's a bit smaller, but it gets all of the text in. So now I want to get rid of the bigger title, so I'll just remove that from headline. I think that looks better. So other things we can change is the banner height, or the content width. I'm actually going to change that heading. Or the background overlay color as well, which is really useful when you do have a big image and you've got text over the front and you want to make it clearer to see. I can also choose an effect to have a hover effect, so it will zoom in when I go over the image. We can't see that in the builder, but you'll see it when we do a preview. So now actually we're going to work on the next bits. But actually I've just realized I want to change something. We want to have that community discussions at the top. So actually we need to go to page properties and change the layout. So I'll change that to the 2 columns, 2:1 ratio split sidebar. So that's now in that sidebar. I'm going to change that to community. We'll go to components, show that CMS collection. In this collection, we're going to go for case studies. Now I'm going to fast forward through this bit whilst I make some tweaks. Now I'm going to add the component for community discussions. So I'm going to go to headline, add it here. Call it community discussions and delete this banner text. And I'm going to choose the unanswered questions. Now at the moment nothing's going to appear because I haven't actually got any discussions in the forums, but we'll add those later. I'll then add a second headline and put, or have a question of your own. Delete the banner text again. And now I'm going to add the ask button. So you can delete these final bits because we don't need them. So this looks pretty good. I'll hit publish. We can click preview. That's one way that we can check what this looks like. Or we can go to this bit as well and we can click refresh. And that looks much better. As I said, there won't be any community discussions yet, but we can see all the other aspects, and you can see that zoom in aspect as well that we configured, and all of the links to the other articles. But actually, if we scroll down to the bottom, I see we also need to update that footer as well. So if we click on it, it's actually an HTML editor. So I can adjust this using standard HTML. So I'm going to change this to copyright 2021 out of the box outfitters. Click publish again. And that is our impactful landing page complete. Thanks again for watching this Friends of Max demonstration. Join us in part 2, where I'll provide a demonstration on how to customize your login and register, search, and community news experiences. I look forward to seeing you again soon.